Weapon arming is often one of the least thought through parts of making a TTT map, even though in my opinion it is one of the most important things you need to do correctly. While the idea of arming your TTT map in a way that is dynamic or purposefully limited in some way may sound like an interesting gimmick, I would strongly recommend avoiding this approach. Players in TTT are easily frustrated by a lack of weapons or by simply not being able to find the weapon that they prefer. This scenario is usually not common in popular maps, and for good reason. Maps that are not armed well or at all are often immediately skipped or removed from servers. The reality of creating a new map for TTT is that you will be competing against classics that have been around for possibly even a decade now, and arming your map the correct way is incredibly important to allow your map to even be considered for a spot on a server. When arming a map, I always create what is called a weapon zoo. This is simply a collection of all the weapon pickups that TTT natively supports in its vanilla version, laid out in a format that is easy to copy and paste around the map. Generally, I'll set this zoo as its own viz group as well. With this, I am able to rapidly arm the map, flying around and pasting predetermined weapon sets as I see fit. For instance, in higher elevated areas, I tend to put rifles and discombobulators, while in more closed-in spaces, I prefer to place MAC-10s and shotguns. Similarly, I tend to enjoy occasionally placing weapons in ways that look more natural within the environment, as opposed to every weapon set looking completely identical as you're walking around, but it's really just personal preference. These smaller details are entirely unnecessary and generally up to you, though I do find it to add more cohesion to the map. In terms of pistols, I generally tend to largely omit the Glock and regular pistol aside from a few occurrences, as they are perhaps the most unused weapons within the game mode. Deagles are preferred 99% of the time and should be placed generously around the level to ensure that every player can find one. Finally, grenades are something I often place in groups around the level as well, just to save time. In most cases they aren't used very often in my experience, but should certainly still be present so that players will not miss them. Again, this one is kind of up to you. Thanks for watching my guide to arming a TTT map properly. If you're interested in some more TTT related content, I have both tutorials on other facets of the game as well as map analysis videos.